Welcome to the Dolce Vita Baking Challenge. This is day 7. My name is Amby and I'm coming to you straight from Napoli. I have been overwhelmed by the flow of positivity and joy into my email inbox. I could not fit all of your responses on one slide, but this is just a little sneak peek to show how sweet and amazing our community is. So you guys are all really just bundles of love in this world. This week I challenged you to make la pasta frolla and bake la crostata or biscotti with it. Look at some of the amazing things that you guys have baked this week. We even had one person make a plum cake al limone. Someone was checking out the blog. So this week is called La Dolce Vita Baking Challenge, but it's more than just recipes. For me, and hopefully by now for you as well, you see that this isn't just about baking. This is about slowing down, connecting with loved ones, and bringing so much joy into your life. This summer, I launched a beta program so that I could get experience teaching classic Italian baking. I only invited 20 students into this group, and we went through the basics of fundamental recipes and went all the way to more advanced recipes. So this is a student spotlight on my student, Glory, who is from California. And this is a photo of us after a lemon tiramisu lesson. So Glory went to Italy and wanted to explore more Italian baking when she came back home to California. She really enjoyed mastering the brioche, cornetti, and different pastas during her time in this beta group. And what was so nice was that apparently the group really helped her reconnect with her love of baking after a pause. She was in a bit of a hiatus and now she is back up and baking again. It also sparked her interest to continue learning about Italian culture and cuisine, and she now even dedicates 15 minutes daily to learning the Italian language. So, brava and snaps to you, Glory. Now, these are two quotes that she said that just really made me smile. She said, making the crostata and lemon tiramisu felt like I was bringing a piece of Italian tradition to my home. Also, making the treccia and surprising my best friend who is Italian was very special. She was so excited. Oh. And then she also said, I now approach baking as a cultural experience and as a source of relaxation and meditation. That's nice. And here are some of the things that Glory learned to make during our beta program. I mean, I'm a little proud of myself for teaching her these, but I also can't take all the credit because she made these herself. So over here we have a treccia, then we have cornetti sfoglia, that is like the puff pastry croissant. We have some fresh tagliatelle from scratch, the lemon tiramisu that we made in the previous photo, and ridge cavatelli. By the way, those were all photos that she took herself. So, snaps. All right, now I want to go into answering some of the top questions I received this week. I can't answer them all, but here are some of the ones I picked. So, question 1, what kind of flour do you use? Okay, great question. In the beta group, I actually gave a full lesson dedicated to farina, flour, but here's the TLDR, too long, didn't read. I use tipo doppia zero for things with a finer crumb, cookies, bar, cakes, and I use tipo zero for breads and brioche. Now in America, you can either just use all-purpose flour or you could use a bread flour. You can also get doppia zero flour, 00 flour on Amazon or at an Italian market. That goes into the next most popular question, where do you get ingredients? The beautiful thing about classic Italian baking is that these recipes are classic and simple, so you don't need many ingredients. But like I said before, you can also source a lot of the ingredients on Amazon or Italian markets, and you can also make substitutions. So for example, you can use all-purpose flour for doppio zero flour. You can use active dry yeast instead of fresh yeast. You just have to activate the yeast in some warm water. You can use baking powder with vanilla instead of pane degli angeli, which is a lievito, a rising agent for sweets. The third question really made me laugh. People are like, Abby, how do you not get fat? So, how do you stay healthy while baking? Now, as a professional model, I have to be careful about what I eat because it is quite literally my job. But since my apprenticeship started in April, I've been baking nearly every day and I haven't gained a pound. Now, that is because I am baking quality things from scratch. I am very active, right? Just because you start baking doesn't mean you have to stop exercising. I have a healthy diet. I make sure to incorporate lots of fresh fruits and vegetables in my diet. I try to only eat what's in season. I get things straight from the local fruttivendolo, which is the fruit and vegetable seller. And I also share a lot of the goodies I bake. So for me, my happiness when I'm baking, a little bit comes from eating it, but the majority comes from the process of making it and gifting it. For example, when I bake, I have romantic music playing on in the background. I'm in a cute apron. I have my favorite beverage, and I'm just having fun. It's really therapeutic playing with that dough. And then when the items are baking, my home smells incredible. It's every real estate agent's dream. And then when I am gifting things, the faces and the expressions of my family, my friends, my neighbors, random people I pass on the street that I offer baked goodies to are priceless. Question 4. A lot of people were asking about gluten-free. People are like, what is the deal with gluten-free? Is it bad for you? Or I am intolerant to gluten. What do I do? So let me answer your gluten questions. Number 1, gluten is not bad, but some people do have intolerances. So if you have an intolerance, then you definitely want to limit your gluten exposure. I am actually gluten intolerant. Surprise, super ironic. But I teach and bake the original versions of the recipes for authenticity, ease, and simplicity. I want you guys learning the recipes as they are, unedited, unadulterated. But if you're gluten-free, all hope is not lost. There are some things you can do. So 1, you can substitute flours. You can either buy a gluten-free blend from the store or you can make your own. On the right, I have some example blends for substitution. So for tipo zero flour, you could substitute brown rice flour, sorghum flour, tapioca starch, xanthan gum. For tipo zero zero flour, you could do white rice flour, tapioca starch, potato starch, and xanthan gum. Those are just some examples. You can play around. There is a whole wormhole of gluten-free knowledge on the internet. Alternatively, if you're not celiac, but you just have a gluten intolerance, that's where I am, you can do a long ferment with lievito madre. So lievito madre is sourdough starter. That's a firm sourdough starter. You can also use a wet sourdough starter. But when you do a long fermentation, I'm talking like a 78-hour fermentation, right, of bread in the fridge, that is going to reduce the gluten content. So something to keep in mind. And then you might be wondering, how do I know if I'm gluten intolerant? I'm not a doctor, and this is not a presentation on gluten intolerance. However, if you find yourself sneezing, you have a lot of inflammation, you're breaking out, you're bloated, that might mean that you're sensitive to gluten. But hey, I bake all the time. The fifth question is, I'm intimidated. How do I learn? So people had said, I went to a home, I saw all of these Italian nonas baking, I wanted to do it, but I didn't think I could. Here's my response. Anyone can learn classic Italian baking. Again, these recipes are really simple. They do take some patience, they take some time, but a lot of it is like you'll bake something, you'll set it aside to rise, you do your work or you clean your kitchen, you come back and you do the next step. It does help to have step-by-step instructions with recipes that have been tried and tested for generations. So that's where I come in. I'm here to help you. And a short little case study, like on myself, I used to be super impatient and intimidated. One time I actually argued with Marco because I did not have the patience to blanch almonds. And I was like, we're just gonna buy the Costco almond flour, okay? But now I've actually made very advanced dishes that most Neapolitans here don't even know how to make. So I make sourdough bread from scratch, that's panettone. I make baba, I know how to make cornetti sfogliata, and many more things. My next, the next goal that I really want to learn is how to make panettone. So I'll let you know when I do. So now let's take a step back and look at the big picture. I want you to imagine the ultimate transformation. Imagine having improved relationships with family and friends. Imagine hosting dinner parties where people say, wow. Imagine having more confidence in the kitchen. Imagine having a more happiness every day with a slower and joyful life. And imagine being the best, most radiant version of yourself and being able to share that with the people around you. It's a nice feeling, right? So in the next few days, keep an eye out in your email inbox because I have something special that I've been working really hard on that is coming your way. I'm not going to say what it is now, but I'm just letting you know. Now, I would love to hear from you, as you guys have been doing a great job this week telling me how you guys are doing. I want to know, how do you see La Dolce Vita transforming your life? Email me your answer to hello@travelwithamby.com or send me a message on Instagram @ambymathur. It is always a pleasure to hear from you. And that's it for me today. So have an incredible day and we'll chat soon. Ciao.